You're listening to the Neighborhood Bulldog, where the porch light's always on and the maroon runs deep. I'm Scott Neighbors, and this is your home for real Mississippi State sports talk. Around here, we don't chase headlines. We break down the wins, the losses, the culture, and what it really means to be a Bulldog. If it matters in Starkville, it matters here. So pull up a chair, grab a drink, and welcome to the neighborhood. Hail State. Welcome back to the Neighborhood Bulldog as we preview a great upcoming weekend in Mississippi State athletics, mainly baseball, because we are getting into the heart of baseball season. Second week of SEC play alive and well as the Bulldogs are going to host the Vanderbilt Commodores at Duty Noble this weekend for a 3-game series. Friday night at 7, Saturday night at 6:30, I believe, and on Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m. We all know Mississippi State has had their ups and downs with Vanderbilt in baseball, and this weekend will be no different. It's going to take our absolute best to knock off the Commodores, and I cannot wait to see what happens this weekend at Duty Noble Field. Jumping right into it, Mississippi State played Jackson State on Tuesday night at Duty Noble Field and got the win 17-1 in 7 innings. To be honest with you, it looked pretty much like a practice game, as it usually does, versus Jackson State. Just Mississippi State dominant the entire game, start to finish. No question from the very first pitch on. Jackson State made some errors, dropped some routine fly balls in the outfield. It looked pretty ugly. Mississippi State moved to 17-4 on the year, 1-2 in conference after winning 1 on the road at Arkansas last weekend. Maddox Miller got the start on Tuesday, going 2 innings with 1 hit, 1 walk, and 3 Ks. Parker Rhodes actually got the win with his 2 innings, no hits, no runs, no walks, and 1 K. And then Charlie Foster came in for some redemption, but ended up walking 3 of the 6 batters he faced, giving up 1 earned run with 0 Ks. Didn't really give him a chance to hit, too many walks. Not what you want to see from Charlie Foster. Not sure what's going on with him, but we need him to get back right, and we need it fast. We don't have enough arms to just say, well, we keep pitching. He's got to pitch, and he's got to get right very fast for us to have a chance with him on the mound. Offensively, a great day at the ballpark. Again, a 17-1 win. Had Aiden Till go 2 for 2 with 3 runs and 1 RBI. Again, the talented freshman, Jacob Parker, showing out, continuing to show his talent level, 3 for 4 with 3 runs and an RBI. And then finally, we get Kevin Maluski back in the lineup, back healthy, 1 for 4, 3 runs with 1 RBI. We will see if Kevin Maluski plays this weekend. I think we are going to have him behind the plate for us to feel comfortable. Like I said, this weekend, Mississippi State facing the Vanderbilt Commodores, who are a rocky 13-9 on the season, but they did take the series 2-1 versus LSU last weekend. Again, same with LSU. They've had a rocky season as well so far. Vanderbilt, like LSU, has some pretty bad losses on the season. Losses to Central Arkansas, North Dakota State, and then most recently, they are coming off of a midweek beatdown 5-1 versus the 8-12 Indiana Hoosiers. So Indiana beating Vandy at Vandy Tuesday night was just their 8th win of the season overall. So Vanderbilt, very shaky, very inconsistent. Not what you're used to seeing from a Tim Corbin coached Vanderbilt team. As far as the rotation goes, Mississippi State's going with some familiar faces. It seems like the rotation for the Bulldogs is just about settled. We're going to go with Ryan McPherson on Friday, Tomas Valinkas on Saturday, and we're going to stick with Duke Stone on Sunday. And I like that move. I think that's the right move. Duke Stone got the start on the Sunday after Charlie Foster pitched 2 weeks and did not look good. And Duke Stone has kind of solidified that role at this point. I thought he was a little shaky last Sunday on the road at Arkansas, but I think he's your best option on Sundays moving forward right now, at least. Ryan McPherson continuing to dominate on Friday nights. Tomas Valink is probably overall the best pitcher on the roster, in my opinion, right now. Just very, very consistent from those two. And then hopefully we've secured the series before we get to Sunday. And hopefully Duke Stone can lock that down for us as well. Vanderbilt is going to go with Connor Fennell on Friday, Wyatt Nadeau on Saturday, and our old friend TBA on Sunday. So starting with their Friday night guy, Connor Fennell, he has started all 5 of the games he's appeared in. He's got a 2-0 record with 26 innings, 5.47 ERA, but he has a staggering 38-6 strikeout to walk ratio, that's insane to have that ratio. He has the put away pitches. Opponents are hitting 240 off of him. So if Mississippi State's got their minds right Friday night, we could get some hits off of him, but we're going to have to watch for that put away pitch that apparently is extremely nasty on folks. So we'll see how that goes on Friday night. Wyatt Nadeau on Saturday is going to be making just his 3rd start of the season. He's got a 1-0 record with 18 innings, 1.5 ERA, and again, another guy that can put batters away, a 25-8 strikeout to walk ratio, and opponents are only hitting 161 off of him. So Saturday, the Bulldog lineup is going to have their work cut out for them. It's going to be tough against Mr. Wyatt Nadeau there. Going to really need some leadership from guys like Noah Sullivan. We're going to have Bryce Chance coming through. Going to have a huge weekend from Aiden Till at the top of the lineup, and we need Ace Reese to continue being Ace Reese for us to have a chance on that one. On Sunday, Vandy is going with TBA. And that's interesting because I don't know who they're going to pitch. They seem to be in a similar situation now on Sundays as Mississippi State was with Charlie Foster after the first few weeks of the season. I'm glad Mississippi State figured out that Sunday role and that 3rd starter role before we got to SEC play, because it seems like Vanderbilt is just now trying to figure out that role for them. I would say we could see Nate Taylor. He's the guy that has started the last 2 Sundays for Vanderbilt, but he's also 0-3 with a 7.45 ERA on 19 innings pitched. Opponents are also hitting 257 against him so far. So for Vandy to announce TBA for Sunday, I think they're going to make a change there. So then the next question is, well, who do they move to? I think the other option for them right now, and given who pitched on Tuesday versus Indiana, which I think they used 4 different pitchers there, all went 2 or 3 innings. I'm looking at a guy by the name of Austin Nye, who has just 3 starts on the year. He's got a 0 ERA in 10 innings, and opponents are only hitting 167 off of him. While he only has 3 starts, that's also all he's appeared in. So he might be the guy that Tim Corbin and Vandy turn to see if they can get a spark in that 3rd game of the weekend there. And again, I hope Mississippi State can lock the series down on Friday and Saturday, because I still am not very comfortable with us on the mound on Sundays yet. So that will be interesting to see the matchup on Sunday there. I will say, if it is Nate Taylor with a 7.45 ERA and an 0-3 record. If you're Duke Stone, you have to outpitch him. Plain and simple. That has to be your mindset is I'm going to be better than that guy over there. And if that is the case, then I hope Duke Stone gets his mind right and I like our chances. If it's Austin Nye, there's a lot of unknowns there. But again, Duke Stone is just going to have the mindset of no matter what, I'm going to be better than their guy. And if that's the case, then I think we come away with a series win there. And given the losses Vanderbilt has had, this really should be a sweep. But it is so hard to sweep in the SEC. And that's hard for me to say right now, given that it is Vanderbilt. They always seem to turn it up against the good teams, and we'll see what happens on that. Offensively for Vandy, they've got some guys in their lineup we're going to have to really pay attention to if you're Justin Parker and the pitching staff when they're game planning. Brody Johnston leading the team with a 393 average, 7 home runs, and 21 RBIs. He's also got a 13-11 strikeout to walk ratio. So he's got a keen eye for the ball, knows the strike zone well, and he's not going to swing and miss at a whole lot. You're going to have to make him hit the ball. The next guy, Braden Holcomb, is kind of the power hitter for Vandy. He is leading the team by far with 11 homers, a 333 average, but his strikeouts are pretty high. He strikes out 23 times to just 14 walks there. So you can get swings and misses on him. The key with him is we're not going to need to walk guys before he comes up to the plate. Plain and simple. You got to eliminate the walks there. Now, one issue that Mississippi State has had, and it has been a glaring issue all season long, and that is catching. We cannot seem to throw runners out very well from behind the plate. Is it a catching issue with their arm strength, their speed, or is it a pitching issue with the pitchers not doing a good enough job of holding runners? I think it's a little bit of both. Our pitchers do not do a very good job of holding runners. Our best one is Tomas Valinkis. His pickoff move to first base as a lefty is absolutely deadly. I love watching him pick guys off at first base. I think he's got 2 or 3 on the season. So he does a fine job, but some of our other guys, I just don't know if they're even paying attention because one thing Mississippi State does is give up stolen bases. I mean, it is bad when you look at the stats for Mississippi State and how many stolen bases we've given up. Looking at Vanderbilt's lineup, we're going to have to figure it out behind the plate. And that's where Kevin Milewski comes in because he is a guy that does have the arm strength to throw guys out. He's been injured, so we don't really know what he can do. But here is the issue with this upcoming weekend. And I hope that we are better than we have been, put it that way. Vanderbilt has several guys in their lineup that are runners. You've got Riker Waite, Mike Mancini, Logan Johnstone, and Rustin Rigdon. Riker Waite is 5 for 7 on stolen bases. Mancini is 5 for 5. Johnstone's 4 for 6, and Rigdon is 6 for 7. So you're talking about guys that can run that do not typically get thrown out. And when you put them against a team where our top 2 catchers are 5 for 18 on throwing out base runners, 5 for 18. That is not going to get the job done. It is just not. Andrew Raymond behind the plate is 3 for 8 on catching runners. Sean James is 2 of 10. That is not going to work in the SEC. Maluski's one of one. So what can he do? I hope we see him behind the plate some this weekend so that we can see what his talent level is and what his arm strength is there. But I'm telling you, 2 of 10 on throwing guys out, and you're an SEC catcher, 3 for 8, and we're fixing to go against this lineup. That is a grave, grave concern that I have going into this weekend versus the Vanderbilt Commodores. I am worried that they are going to run every time they get on first base. We need multiple pickoffs over there just to keep them honest. Even if you're not going to pick them off and throw them out, pick off over there, keep them honest, keep them close to the bag, and at least make them think that you're paying attention to them. Because what we've been doing ain't working. It's just not. The stolen bases we've given up, plus the wild pitches, pass balls that are not being blocked up behind the plate, that's a problem behind the plate. And you've got to have an absolute rock solid catcher to be successful in the SEC. I mean, Mississippi State has had some incredible guys come through back there. We had Ed Easley. We had Dustin Skelton. And most notably, we had Logan Tanner, power hitting catcher, just a dirtbag behind the plate. We need to get back to those days. And can Sean James do that? Can Andrew Raymond do that? They haven't so far. What, maybe they can get their mind right and get there. We will see. But that is my biggest concern of the weekend. The Saturday starter for Vandy, his numbers are staggering. So I'm worried about our lineup on Saturday, and I'm worried about us keeping Vanderbilt's base running in check all weekend. Legitimately, I expect them to have at least 3, 4 stolen base attempts in each game this weekend. And going off the percentages, they are likely to be successful on almost all of them. And these are the kind of numbers that jump out at you and just kind of give you a gut feeling that they're going to steal a base that they have to steal, and it's going to win them the game. I hope that's not the case, but that's looking at these numbers. I'm telling you, that's what stands out to me, and I am very worried about that. So I hope they got the catching right during practice this week for the Bulldogs. I hope Maluski back there makes a big difference. If Vanderbilt runs and Maluski snipes one down immediately, you set the tone for the entire weekend right there on Friday night. So it'll be interesting to see if Maluski can get the start behind the plate, because I think for Brian O'Connor and the Bulldogs, being the second week of SEC play, we've seen Sean James, we've seen Andrew Raymond enough. If Maluski's healthy, yes, it might be a step back as far as what you're getting in the lineup, but I think you have to have his defense. I think you don't have a choice at this point back there if you want to stay successful and be successful. So that's Mississippi State baseball facing Vanderbilt this upcoming weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I cannot wait to see what happens. Hopefully, Mississippi State can take down Vanderbilt and send the Whistler packing. It's going to be a miserable watch on television. It's going to be miserable if you're in the stadium because of one guy that likes to make the entire game about himself because he wasn't good enough to play. So he's got to be in the stands screaming, "Look at me," with his whistling bullcrap. So have your earplugs ready, go support the Dogs, but make no mistake, it's going to be miserable with that loser in the stadium. Moving on to softball, We talked about softball getting a big win, giving Tennessee their first loss last weekend, and then facing Tennessee's superstar pitcher on Sunday there. Likewise, they've got another big weekend this weekend. Going into the weekend 28-4, 1-2 in conference after taking down UAB. They beat UAB 4-0 in Starkville on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. The Lady Dogs are going to hit the road for Friday, Saturday, Sunday as they head to Athens, Georgia to face the number 15 in the country, Georgia Bulldogs softball team. And again, Mississippi State softball this year has been elite. They are one of the best teams in the SEC by far. And I cannot wait to see the opportunity they have in front of them this weekend. Georgia is 21-7 on the season, 1-2 in conference, but they are 15-4 at home. So they are a team that takes care of the home field. They are coming off of a weekend series with Arkansas where they won one and lost two. Arkansas's unranked, so that could be a big opportunity for Mississippi State softball. In the midweek this week, Georgia actually beat West Georgia 8-0 on Tuesday, and then they beat Georgia Tech 5-1 on Wednesday. And so Georgia Tech, a team Mississippi State also beat this year. So Mississippi State softball in Athens, Georgia, number 15 Georgia versus the number 11 Mississippi State Bulldogs. If Mississippi State can win this series, you may see Mississippi State crack the top 10 for the first time in school history for the college softball polls. So I will definitely be keeping an eye on that matchup as I watch the baseball games this weekend. And we will go from there and be back with you on Sunday night as we recap what I hope is a victorious weekend for baseball and softball. Spring practice in football got underway this week. Kamario Taylor, his first spring as the starting quarterback for the Bulldogs, has some lot of good video coming out of practice, some good interviews from Jeff Lebby. Remember, Zach Arnett is back as the defensive coordinator. I'm extremely excited about that. Coach Lebby talked about some of the new staff members and just their buy-in, how after the first day, he mentioned they've got more bodies than they had last year and that they are in a completely different situation as they go into spring practice than they were last year from a health standpoint and from a bodies standpoint as far as depth and being able to practice. We're not as thin as we were last year or certainly the year before that. So is it all talk? We'll find out in the fall. But for right now, I love what I'm seeing, love what I'm hearing. I hope they keep it going over there at the football facility. Hope everybody stays healthy. And this has to be a breakout year for Jeff Lebby. It has to be. If we are halfway through the season and we've only won one SEC game again, then we'll be looking for a new head coach, I assure you. I hope that doesn't happen because I like Coach Lebby. I think he's a nice guy. He's got a great offensive mind. But at the end of the day, it's about wins and losses. And right now, no other school would put up with the record that we have. And this third-year head coach that we have is going to have to get it right in year 3. So thank you for joining tonight. Like, subscribe, listen, share, engage with us in the comments. We love hearing from you. And we'll be back with you on Sunday. Have a good night. Hail State.